Hello and welcome to Not Now in Theaters. Whether it's an underrated B-movie, a cult classic, or an underseen foreign film, this podcast is a highlight reel of movies past you might want to know more about and why. My name is Will Turntail, and I'm a writer and film fan from California. This episode is about Arena. It's a B-movie from the 80s about futuristic boxing matches where a human just named Steve beats up aliens. Full of lovely practical effects from that era you'll love, I'm looking forward to breaking down all the lighthearted reasons it's worth a kickback watch for science fiction fans. A quick statement before we begin. Making films is hard, and you have to respect that. This is a fan's blog, so any criticisms are meant to be constructive. Alright, with that taken care of, let's go to the show. I'll spare your ears from my singing voice and ask you to just imagine Michael Bolton singing this review's title for you, okay? Arena 1989 review, When a Man Drop Kicks a Rancor. Arena 1989 captures a throwback spirit millennials like me, and Gen Xers, want to reconnect with. Browsing Max or Netflix today, the production values look damn good and oh so polished. Clean, lit, and perfectly budgeted, even the most basic streaming, quote, TV drama or genre film has seemingly stunning cinematography and designer props. I should be rejoicing. My streaming cup runneth over with quality watch options. But I bow to no algorithm. Who said quality is what I crave? Arena harkens back to those glorious 80s and 90s when schlocky sci-fi was ever-present and cheesily fantastic. Do you want to see a human step into a boxing ring, kick a poor man's imitation of the Rancor from Return of the Jedi in the thighs, and punch it across the snout? Oh, you do. Do you care if the dialogue is plain and uninventive? Normally, yes. In this case, no. Despite looking like it was shot at some convention center over some weekends, ignoring that futuristic costumes become a matter of putting shiny on everything, there's an excellent vehicle for enjoyable sci-fi here. So was Arena a good movie? What is the plot of Arena? Thanks to a handicapping computer system, fighters from all over the galaxy compete in sanctioned arena matches. Steve Armstrong, and yes, that's his supposedly futuristic name, stumbles into the competition. With help from his friend Shorty and trainer Quinn, Steve is the first human in 50 years to compete for the championship. But the conniving Rogor and his fighter, cyborg/alien Horn, stand in Steve's way. Can Steve defeat Horn and become champion? Alright, and just taking you through the cast a little bit here, Steve Armstrong is played by Paul Satterfield, Shorty is played by Hamilton Camp, and Quinn is played by Claudia Christian. Rogor is played by Mark Alimo. And apologies to anyone I didn't mention, but you can read the rest of the main cast in the transcript. So I couldn't find a trailer posted to YouTube where I was confident the channel had the copyright to do it. Normally I will put a trailer at this portion in the transcript for you, but if you want to seek out Arena's trailer on your own, I bet it's posted somewhere on YouTube. And now, normally this podcast has a format where I give out points for all the good things a film does and deduct for the things I think could have been improved and add them all up at the end and assign a score. For this episode, we're just going to wing it. So why should you watch Arena? If Arena's Japanese movie poster can't sell you on this film, you can stop listening now and return to your other quality entertainment. There's a link here in the transcript to view it, but I'll describe it for you because I have a feeling some of you are unable or too lazy to look. And that's okay. The poster is full of what-the-shit snapshots. At center, a fighter with black boxing gloves and a helmet squares off against an alien that looks an awful lot like a dinosaur. It's like the character select versus screen in Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. Except Ken is on one side and a galactic velociraptor is on the other. In other little images, we can see some knockoff Mos Eisley Cantina patrons, like droids and aliens, doing battle. In case you don't know, Mos Eisley Cantina is that smuggler's bar in Star Wars A New Hope. This film sets up a future so exotic its lead character is named Steve Armstrong. I am curious to know what strategic advantage Armstrong gets from fighting in knee pads, an adult diaper, and a man bra. Still, Armstrong has the muscles and bravado for the big time, but there's no way he'll get there without silly, streetwise sidekick Shorty. Shorty is an alien. You know this because he's a human/hobbit guy with 4 hands. This mind-bending effect most likely came to reality by someone standing behind the actor's back, shielding their body from view and extending their arms/hands into the frame. Villain Rogor is so evil and dedicated to winning that he'll loan out his girlfriend, Jade, to seduce and disable Armstrong. The criminal mastermind sidekick is such a hairy-faced, twisted weasel that they just went ahead and named him that. But these delightfully silly characters aren't what you came for. Arena depicts combat between a human, or sometimes 2 aliens, fighting in a boxing ring. The sight of a grown-ass man beating down on a poor performer in a rubber suit, or are they puppets, isn't quite as comical as I wished it was, but it still gets me in a happy place inside. The creature and makeup effects land somewhere near an episode of a Star Trek knockoff, but they grace the film with B-movie charm. Steve's ultimate opponent, Horn, like Weasel, is literal. He looks like a cyborg hellspawn that wasn't scary enough for the Doom video game franchise. Other aliens took a reptile inspiration, or, like Rogor, that human with a different colored skin approach. But hey, it works. Still, the film's true strength is its go-for-fun setup. These days, fewer vehicles are willing to bear their flaws and bite down on the fun factor. Here, we step right inside the movie, a clear goal in mind with a dopey hero who has to overcome conniving baddies. Many modern screenplays get bogged down in overreach. They try to set up deep, long-winded character arcs. They go for the throat with shock value. They have many artistic things to say within a completely generic vehicle. It's another essay, but part of that problem could be from so many directors and writers wanting to say something more profound in the pieces they are actually given. And that's usually a sequel and or some existing IP we, the audience, scrape the barrel of caring about. But Arena's only goal is to entertain, and it gets there and nowhere else. Go watch Arena. Arena is set in the year 4038, but it's so late 80s that it still commits to the era's ultimate action staple, tossing someone through a glass window. Or is it now future glass? It is capable of cringeable scenes and odd moments. It's nowhere near brilliant cinema. But it's a just right production for those who want to return to classic second-billing sci-fi. Even if it has a hokey delivery, the spirit of a fantastic fight to the finish will entertain you. So what is the legacy of Arena? Well, the movie was written by the writing duo Danny Bilson and Paul DeMeo. They are the writers of cult films like Trancers, which will be an episode at some point, and Eliminators. They also wrote some audience's classic and movie I do like, The Rockateer. So Arena is another film in their catalog. Though I wouldn't say that Arena has as strong an appreciation as Trancers, since that film's cult popularity has helped it get to Part 5. Lead actor Paul Satterfield carved out a long career in television, though did appear in a few more movies. He seems to be known as a soap opera actor, appearing on General Hospital, The Bold and the Beautiful, and One Life to Live. Claudia Christian, who played Steve's manager, Quinn, has been in a lot of films and continues to act. I think amongst the nerd communities, she's best known for her role on TV series Babylon 5 as Commander Susan Ivanova. She's also in the sci-fi movie The Hidden, which I'll have to do an episode on at some point as well. Mark Alaimo, who played villain Rogor, was on Star Trek Deep Space Nine as Gul Dukat. He also had what I think were smaller roles in Total Recall and The Last Starfighter, as well as a whole bunch of other film and TV work. And the Deep Space Nine connections don't end there. Armin Shimmerman, who acted as Weasel, played recurring character Quark on DS9. He's also done voice acting work, including Andrew Ryan in the BioShock video games. Apologies to any of the cast I didn't cover, as I can't get to everyone. The last piece of legacy of this film is that, of course, it was distributed by Charles Band's Empire Pictures. The long history of Charles Band and his films isn't something I'll go into here. There are books written about that, I believe. I don't know as much about him and his companies as many film buffs do. But I do know Empire Pictures and, after it folded, Band's company Full Moon Productions distributed many cult fan favorites throughout the so-called VHS era, such as Reanimator and Puppet Master. And this movie, with its tantalizing box art and go-for-fun B-movie thrills, are as good an example of the era as any. So if you want to take yourself back to that experience of finding something shiny and odd from the video store, this film is your monster alien bashing bucket. Did I say bucket? I meant ticket. Monster alien bashing ticket. So thank you so much for listening to my thoughts on Arena, directed by Peter Manoogian. If you liked this episode, would you leave me a review on your favorite podcast platform? Reviews help new channels like mine get discovered, and I would appreciate your taking 1 minute or 2 to share your thoughts. My goal for this podcast is to connect with other fans. So if you've got a comment or a question, I'd love to hear from you. You can connect with me on Blue Sky using the link in the transcript. I'll read it out for you. It's at not-ni-theaters.bsky.social. It's also a lot easier to just click the link. This podcast episode is a production copyright of Overegg Media, LLC, located in Sacramento, California. Reference photos linked in the transcript are copyrighted by the Internet Movie Database. This review's factual information was gathered through online sources like Wikipedia, IMDb, or interviews. Misrepresentations and errors are totally possible, but completely unintentional. Introduction music, Neon Laser Horizon by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0 license. Exit music, Voxel Revolution by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0 license. And additional music, Cloud Dancer by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0 license. Goodbye for now.